Hey everyone, this caricature is of J.J. Cale. He's a musician and he passed away. But this is who we're drawing this week, and this is I guess my first official caricature in my new studio. So everything's kind of new in this little room, but I'm liking it. I apologize for the lighting. That's one thing that the camera wasn't able to get. I have plenty of lighting. I'm perfectly fine. It's just that the camera somehow it just didn't like it, and it went to some automated deal, or it changed automatically, and it just went to some shaded dark tone shadow or something. But I don't know. But it does look much darker. But as you can see, I'm just kind of doing my normal thumb sketches before I move on. I was planning on doing 3 or 4 different sketches, but I did warm up, so that did help tons. I looked at a few pictures of Nate. I went to his Facebook page and I just kind of looked at a few things. And I was looking at how he moved a lot of the faces and how he changed some things. And they didn't have any reference pictures, but I did benefit just from looking at his stuff and seeing what he did. That kind of loosens me up a little bit. So I did practice a bunch on that, and then I practiced on Ricardo. He has a cool beard, so I did a few caricatures of him. I did 3 little thumbnails of him. He said he liked them, so I did practice my point. My point being, and so when I went to studying the video of this guy Cale, I had a video going, and when I was studying him, what I was doing is I did it kind of naturally, but I don't normally verbalize it, or I don't write it down, and I did this time so that it might help you. I I was looking at all the things that were different about him, and I was kind of storing them in my mind. So when I went to look for a reference picture, and when I went to draw the guy, I kind of memorized all those things I had in my mind, and I meshed everything together. So that's why sometimes I've seen it, and I kind of do it sometimes. That's why sometimes when you see caricature artists or others that maybe they're doing a profile caricature of the person, and they add like front view features. You know what I mean? So like sometimes when they're drawing a front view caricature straight on, all of a sudden the nose or something else, they just change it to quarter view or side view, and it fits. It looks good. They make it work. Um, so that's an example of meshing all the features together. So if, for example, the guy has a ponytail, but you're drawing him front view, um, okay, you're drawing him straight on, but what you're going to do is you're going to, if you're a good caricature artist, if you want to, not a good, but if you want to incorporate that ponytail that's really different and unique, well, guess what? You're going to have that ponytail to the side, whether it be on the right side or the left side of his neck. You're going to show it because you don't want to miss out on that feature, that unique feature, that feature that stands out different from the average Joe. So and using that as an example, what I was looking at, okay, well, yeah, this guy gets blue eyes. His eyes disappear, and his eyebrows, big eyebrows. The eyebrows are separated. He doesn't smile much, and when he does, it's almost like a smirk. And I'm gathering all this information as I'm watching this video. It's like a 5-minute video. I watched it like 2 different times, especially when he was being interviewed in the very beginning. I was actually watching him talk, and the camera was zoomed in his face. So and also he had these large ears. I was thinking about, he had this chin that was real pointy and long, but the jawbone was short. So like his face wasn't really long, but the only thing that was long would be his chin. But his face was square, wild hair, pale, kind of grungy looking with his beard, and he doesn't really shave smoothly, or at least he doesn't shave every day. Really dark eyebrows. They were real bushy and dark. They were just wrinkles on his forehead, all those different things, especially his cheekbones also was one of the things that stood out in the very beginning. His cheekbones were dark, not like a bruise purple dark, but they were just like brown. They were just like dark. And they were also pointy at certain times when he turned his head. It just looked pointy. Like if I were to touch it, there'd be a point right there on the top of his cheekbone. It just pointed for some reason like a triangle. And if you look at the reference picture, I don't know if you can see that, but I wanted to incorporate that. My point is, I had all those things in my mind, so when I went to sketching, I incorporated all those things, or at least I remembered those things, and I found a way to maneuver things around, and to be able to fit that in, just kind of like that ponytail example. You know, you can't see it from a front view, but you know, you can add it. You can put it inside of his neck and add that ponytail, for example. He doesn't have a ponytail, but I'll use, for example, the dimple. He had a dimple in his chin, and I saw that when I was scrolling through like the images on Google. So I saw that, but in the video, you couldn't see that. And even in my reference picture, you can't see that. So, well, how do I do that? How do I incorporate that unique thing when his beard totally shuts it off or closes it up? So the way I did is I just still stuck it in there. I just, you know, drew a little dimple in the beard, and I did that with many other features. Let me see, what else did I do? Let me give you another example. See the ears? The ears, they were really big. Okay, so they're really huge, and on the reference picture, they don't look as big, especially compared to the nose and things like that. But when he's looking front view, like they're really wide. They're really wide and they're really big. And his hair might like help to distract you away from it, but he still has big ears. If you're keen to that, like if you're looking hard at it, you can see his big ears. So what I did is I just exaggerated him really big, so it looks like you're looking at him at a front view. And of course, the eyelashes in the reference picture, you can't really see it at all. If anything, it's like really tucked in. If you see my reference picture there, so his eyebrows goes out, but the eyelashes are almost hidden, and he has big eyelashes. One of the things that came to mind, so I just added those right next to the nose, as you can see. Just a few, like I think I added 2 thick eyelashes, which are mainly feminine. They're not used for like males, but he's got them, so it's part of like likeness. So you can't get around that. You have to draw it. Hello, sorry about that. Have to do something real quick. But what was I saying? Man, I hate when that happens. Yeah, so there's unique features that a person has, and you just kind of mesh them all together. At least that's what I do. I have to say that doesn't work with a lot of different styles. It just works for me. That's what I do, and it works. I like to do that. So as you can see, I was testing like the shadows of the nose. See, I'm just changing here and there the nose, and I think I figured I like that because from the front view there's like a little dent he has. You can't really see it in the side view or the reference picture right there in the corner. You can't really see that dent in his nose, but he has this like, ball on his nose. It's like a flat ball thing on his nose. So that's one example how I incorporated that. I can't see it in the reference picture, but he has it when he's looking forward, so I was able to mesh those two things together. So that's just one example of doing that. But oh, by the way, there's my screen. Sorry, the angle. That's just how the camera records. But that's what I'm looking at right there. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 pictures, and I got the video in the middle. And that's what I'm looking at as I'm sketching. And see that the chin on the top left? That's him without the beard. So I used that as a reference there. But you know, I was able to look at all those things. So when I'm sketching, as I'm sketching it, even on the watercolor paper, which is about, let me see, 18 by 24. It's a really big sheet. But as I'm doing that, I'm always keeping in mind all those things that I was studying before I even did the thumbnail sketch. I'm thinking about skinny guy, big head, wrinkles in the forehead. You know, I'm thinking about big ears, and I'm meshing all those things together. But again, that might not work with like every style. It just works with mine, and I like to do that. And if you want to try something different, you could try that. But just taking all the unique features and just throwing them all together, just like if you're cooking and you have a big pot of whatever, of stew, and just you're putting celery and all these things together, and hopefully it comes out okay. But as you're doing that, if you're gonna try it, if you're gonna like put all these features that are unique and throw it all together, a good way to do or to start off doing that is with thumbnail sketch, and then kind of move the features around, because if you just throw them around randomly, that's not going to work. That's just kind of like distortion, which is kind of like having no thought behind it, just randomly doing just because, and just throwing features out in there, and that's just not going to look right. It's just not going to work. So you do have to have normal or basic anatomy of the face in your mind, and you have to recognize when to stop, and you have to minimize. There's exaggerations. There's making something bigger, and there's another type of exaggeration where you're minimizing something. If someone has a small nose, you make it really tiny, and then the extreme way is just to kind of eliminate the nose, just take it all out. Take it out. An example of that would be like in this caricature, like the jawline for his jaw. I basically just brought it up. If anything, it's in line with the mouth. You see the bottom of the jaw right underneath the ear? If you draw, it's 12 o'clock. If you draw a straight line all the way across, it lines up with the mouth. You see that? So basically, I just eliminated the mouth. Or the jaw. I just took it out. It wasn't really important, so I took it out. He has a small jaw. If you look at the reference picture, it's pretty high. It's real up there. I mean, it's very low. I mean, he has more of that double chin going on in his jaw than his actual jaw bone. It's real high, so I just brought it even higher. But the chin was really long and pointy. It didn't make his face look long. He had this really long chin. And you can't tell in some features in some pictures, but in the videos you can tell he's got it. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, one thing I wanted to say is, when you're looking at all these unique features, it'll help you choose a good reference picture. It'll help you choose, which reference picture will get the job done, or which one will best help achieve all those exaggerations and minimizations, is that a word, that you have in your mind. So if you have all those, maybe a dozen things going on in your mind about that person, including the minimizing or eliminating stuff, it'll help you choose a good reference picture. There were some pictures of this guy like kind of looking up, and I didn't really think that would have helped with all those things that I had in my mind. And when I saw this picture, I said, this is the one that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this as a reference picture. It really shows off all those features that I really wanted to bring out. And so it not only helps with your thumbnails and your sketching and things like that, but it also is really beneficial. The studying of the guy and looking at all those unique features, it also will help you choose a good reference picture, which is very, very important. So anyways, we will see you next time, and I hope you like it.